Well, initiatives like Tech4Eva allow for people to come together around an objective, around a mission, in this case, of course, developing new tech for women's health.
And it's about collaborating with other startups, with other organizations, and sharing advice and knowledge.
We can learn so much from each other in this innovation ecosystem, and it's super important to really have that, challenge each other, support each other. There are really so many innovative companies basically addressing different stages of reproductive health or of women's health in general.
Today I was very impressed. They covered everything from motherhood, maternal outcomes, but also menstrual health and menstrual pain, and even mental health. And I think that's amazing to see the diversity.
Supporting women's health is crucial. It's quite surprising to see how little we know about it.
This is important, and not just important for women, but also for us men, and I think everybody should support this movement.
Supporting women's health is supporting everyone's health. We are 50% of the population. Women play an integral role in society in so many different areas, and it's helping everyone, not just women.
There is an urgent need for us to put the women's health on top of our agenda. Together, we can drive femtech.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our events. My name is Lanzo Gillette, co-founder and program director of Tech4Eva and deputy managing director of IPF in New York. So very pleased to see so many of you is connecting with us today. On this International Women's Day, we celebrate our 3rd anniversary of the launch of Tech4Eva, the global femtech startup accelerator that is announced in 2021 on these special days. But most of all, we celebrate the incredible achievements and progress of women around the world in many fronts. For instance, economic equality, from equal pay to equitable access to employment opportunity and professional advancement. Political participation. Indeed, many women are shining in political scene now, and some achieve parity with men. And education, equal chance to access quality educations, and each individual has control over and access to the appropriate healthcare, and eradicate gender-biased violence and discrimination, distribution of family responsibility, and also media representations, etc. As one of the major science parks in Switzerland, our battlefield for women's health is equity in health for women. We are not talking about access. We're not going to talk about equal access to treatment as we have it in Europe, but about how to develop technology that address women's specific needs by taking into consideration their biological difference. It's our response to years of overlooked research and innovation focused on women's health and the lack of tailored solution for prevalent women's specific health conditions such as chronic pain, depression, endometriosis, etc., etc. So this is the reason why we teamed up with the health insurance company Groupe Mutual to address these challenges by designing and developing a global femtech accelerator, which will be served as an innovation platform to bring more research to the market and to help high potential startup to scale. Tech4Eva is a Swiss-based global femtech accelerator open to international startups. It has 4 key components that sets us apart. It is 100% equity free. It is wide. It has wide global reach thanks to IPF international network. It is strongly supported by a lot of large corporates offering mentorship or opportunity for pilot projects, and enjoys a strong startup ecosystem and related support mechanism. So the activity within our accelerator composed of workshops, conference, international roadshows, and we also offer help for partnership with other large corporates, offer help to finding investors. And there is also mentoring programs and also CEO peer-to-peer sessions, which helps to build a very strong community. Now, here is the Tech4Eva Femtech Solution portfolio. We have 77 alumni startups has already gone through our programs. And you can see these startups cover all the area of related to women's health. And out of 77, 22 are Swiss startups, which could be more interesting for the Swiss business angels. Now, after 3 years of operations, and thanks to over 20 institutional partners, 40 plus experimenters, and over 300 speakers in our 6 large conferences and 14 international roadshows, Tech4Eva is now becoming a major player at international level and build a very strong partner network and a rich ecosystem at home and abroad. So, and the 77 Femtech startups in our 3 cohort has raised overall $180 million plus US as of today. Navigating the Femtech sector presents some specific challenges that company must address to harness its full potentials. For instance, the biggest challenge is, of course, the funding and investment. This is why we organized events today. Femtech companies represent a small portion of health investment because predominantly due to the lack of understanding and interest from male-dominant investor communities. Secondly, historical focus on medical research on male subjects has resulted in a scarcity of comprehensive data on women's health issues. Femtech company must invest R&D to overcome the lakes of data, which again requires investment and fundings. There are also challenges in dealing with sensitive private data from such as reproductive or health or fertilities. Another challenge is to ensure access to of Femtech solution to diverse demographic and geographic groups. Finally, integration of Femtech products with existing healthcare is essential also for seamlessly patient care. It requires developing interoperable solutions, especially in Switzerland, where the healthcare systems are very much different and disconnected. But despite of all these challenges, Femtech market is booming, with focus exceeding 60 billion by 2025. It is a very fertile ground for angels looking to not only generate significant financial returns, but also to make long-lasting social impact. So the market size for Femtech solutions projected to reach dozens of billions in hundreds by 2027. So this is what we can see on this graph. For instance, for chronic conditions, breast, uterine, as well as reproductive health, they occupy biggest market potential, followed by technology dedicated to cardiovascular diseases, menstruation, and menopause, etc. At the same time, if you invest in the industry, in the Femtech startups, you will see that the value of the industrial, they have experienced steady growth in the last decade. Femtech company are now worth overall 28 billions. So the increase of overall company value is the most spectacular for those who created after 2015. And if we compare the exit value of femtech companies with other healthcare companies, femtech exit value is on average 25% higher. Here are two examples of femtech company exit for at-home ovulation tests and for maternal health. Both exit value are over hundreds of millions. So now, as Melinda Gates aptly put it, when you invest in women and girls, you are investing in the people who invest in everyone else. Femtech solutions embody this spirit of investment, where every dollar invested multiplies in return of health, education, and well-being, and for the entire societies. So investing in femtech is not for aim for a quick win. It is a long-term commitment whose return can be measured not only by dollars, but also by impact at society levels. So as angel, your role extends beyond funding. You are also the life mentor and business advisor for femtech startups. You participate in their adventure, their struggle, and their future success. You committed to share your life and professional experience with femtech founders, where 80% of them are women. So you are actually contributing also to the empowerment of female founders and to women's cause in general. So today you will get to know some of the Swiss femtech startups in our portfolio, but through Tech4Eva, you will be connected to the femtech innovation at global level. And together we have the opportunity to shape a world where women's health and well-being are priorities, but not only an afterthought. So to conclude, here is the call for action for everybody here. Let's invest in femtech, believing in these incredible innovators, and let's work together to bring a future where every woman can live her life to its fullest potential. Thank you. For now, I would like to invite Jérôme Michaud to guide you through today's conference. Jérôme, it's yours.
Thank you, Lan, and good afternoon, everybody. I hope you hear me well. So I'm a femtech entrepreneur and a mentor at Tech4Eva. And first, I wanted to take the opportunity to thank our two event partners, Business Angel Switzerland and SIGTIC, for helping us bringing this together. Very exciting to celebrate International Women's Day with this topic. And now that Lan has warmed it up, I would like to cover what we will talk in the next 75 minutes. So we'll hear from Bas and SIGTIC about how it looks like to angel invest in Switzerland before inviting Anna Butterworth to discuss about actually how the future looks like in this space and what kind of investing opportunity there is. We'll then move in a panel discussion with 5 fantastic leaders covering investors, entrepreneurs, and corporate leaders before giving you the opportunity to see 6 great innovative solutions that have gone throughout the Tech4Eva program of the last couple of years. So without further ado, I would like to invite our first guest speaker, Adrienne Paramount, who is represented Business Angel Switzerland today. Adrienne has been actually sitting at the board of BAS for 6 years, including 2 as a national president, and since then is a very active board member and angel. So Adrienne, floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm really happy to participate today in the event organized by Tech4Eva. I see there are over 100 participants. I hope there are a lot of founders of startups here today. So let me start by presenting myself. My name is Adrienne Paramount. I have a background in business. I'm a mediator and I've been an angel investor for over 11 years at Business Angel Switzerland. I have invested in 11 startups with 1 exit, 3 failures, 4 are promising, and 3 on verra. Anyway, it's great to be here today because Tech4Eva plays a really important role, as Lan indicated in her introduction, not only in the Swiss ecosystem, but also worldwide by promoting and offering support to young startups in the sector, which has long been ignored. And I was reading in The Economist the development of the first endometriosis drug in 4 decades. I mean, a debilitating gynecological condition that affects 190 million women, 1 in 10, which is the same proportion of the global population that suffer from diabetes. And events like today give investors, like business angels, access to an untapped market with big potential. So although there are several success stories in the sector, such as the startups Ava and LV that do smart tech products for women, many are still early stage, and this is where investors such as BAS can help. So next slide, please. Thank you. So briefly, Business Angel Switzerland, we're the oldest angel investing club in Switzerland with 90 members in different backgrounds, which have different backgrounds such as business, engineering, finance, with lawyers, industry, and also entrepreneurs. Although we work together, we share expertise, we do the due diligence together. What is a little different with us is that we invest individually. We don't have a common pot. What we do offer now is what we call the CSAT, which is a syndicate agreement when startups need to reduce the number of lines in their cap table. Members also can participate in the jury, where we select 3 pitches, which will then come and present at our dinner meetings, of which we have 20 in 1 year, 10 in the Swiss French and 10 in the Swiss German. In the last 5 years, we've invested more than 15 million Swiss francs in new startups, but also follow-on rounds. And all in all, we've had about 15 exits, with 9 with an average multiple of 3. The sectors we invest in are deep tech, clean tech, but also med tech and biotech. We've invested over 400,000 francs in 4 femtech startups, and where I'm happy to say that 70% of the members who've invested are men. So next, please. Here's an example of SPVX, the startup we invested in a few years ago. Next, please. And we look forward to having Yoni Solutions come and pitch this spring. Next, please. Thank you. So the next 3 slides, I'd like to just briefly share with you our view on angel investing. Next. Angel investing is not just about the highest return on investment, but it's giving our time and sharing network, which is what Lan also indicated in her introduction. During the due diligence is the first contact with the founders, a chance to give already our input and share experience. We don't often have a lot of numbers, so the founders and team are crucial. Once the investment is done, then it's important for the startup to communicate with their investors, let them join the board, and we'll give you more support and expert advice. But basically, working together with business angels will lay the groundwork for attracting bigger investors and ultimately getting to a successful exit. But it's not enough to have a great idea if there's no demand and the market is not ready. So what we look for is a real innovation, a disruptive product, not just a nice to have. And the most important is cash is king. So investment round must be big enough to reach the next milestone, even with delays. Better to have a slightly lower valuation, attract investors, and then have a steady increase in the valuation as you reach the next milestones and prepare for the next fundraising round. We want founders to speak to us about their exit strategy. Our aim is to exit within a few years, recuperate our money so we can invest it in other startups. Next. So you've just finished the fundraising round. Remember, you don't want to run out of cash, so you plan the next follow-on round. And if necessary, you may need to adapt the team. Maybe you've had mostly founders with a scientific background, but you need commercial expertise, maybe financial expertise for the next fundraising round. And remember, a McKinsey research says that gender diverse teams are 21% more likely to outperform peers. And as you adapt the team, the right board members, again, can be a real help too. And finally, I repeat, you want to avoid a down round. Make sure the investment round is big enough to reach the next milestone, even with delays. Next. So at BAS, We look forward to welcoming many more promising startups in the femtech sector. And as an end note, Tech4Eva has become a showcase for promoting startups in the domain of women's health. Well done for your achievement so far. Thank you.
Thanks, Adrienne, and thanks to all the BAS members. So let's welcome now Ralph Moggiacato. Ralph is representing SICTIC today. He benefits from 25 plus years of experience in the financial industry and is a very active board member with a focus on fintech and insurtech. So Ralph, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much. Can I share the screen? Hello, everybody. It's a real pleasure to presenting SICTIC. And the good thing is that Adrienne already told a lot about angel investing. We do the same, same, but different. We started 11 years ago because there was in the ecosystem still not enough money and people to do the early stage and supporting the early stage startups. And that's our mission, to bring in smart money for tech startups. And there is really one big issue I have conquered all the years I have done in investing. I have done 49 investments, several exits, still on many boards, and hopefully I will do investments for the next 15 years. But besides me and even from the startup side, we have not enough women. And I think it's a very nice objective that with femtech, we maybe attract more women investors, because I personally also believe that is a sector where expertise can bring a startup much wider. So about SICTIC, we're a non-profit organization, and we're doing, I would say, a little bit different to BAS. We're doing more events. We do 10 to 15 events per year, so on a monthly basis. So you have the opportunity to see startups on a monthly basis. In addition, that's just facts about how much companies we have funded, how many people, and then we also strengthen the community thoughts. And importantly, I think it's also important if you join as an investor, an angel investment round. You heard from Adrienne what is important on that you are not having fear that other people have more experience, maybe having more voice. That's not the case. The most angel investors are very friendly and very startup friendly, and we try really as a group to bring the startup into the next level. And that helps to secure our money on the one side, but it also brings the joy if we're reaching that. And failure is something you have to accept, and it's not a bad thing. This is our portfolio, and unfortunately, we're still not good on femtech, but I hope with this event we can change that, and also the collaboration with your organization who is presenting that that's a good thing. So finally, I just want to say that's one of our Romandie examples, which is just some kilometers away from where we are located, and there's many more to do. And finally, and that's a little bit the goal, where it's not charity we do investments. We want to have a return on that, and it should be better than the return which you would have with equities or other investment classes. So exits are the important thing, and happy to have more femtechs in future SICTIC rounds. You just apply as a startup, and for investors, it's also onboarding online. Thank you very much, and a happy event.
Thank you, Ralph, and thanks again, Adrienne, for this quick, short, and concise presentations. And we know how critical, angels are at the early stage beyond, capital investment. So thanks again to all angels actually in the room. I see a couple of chats flying around. And I want to remember, I mean, if there is, male or female leaders in the audience today that are actually interested in starting investing, reach out to these folks. There will be, of precious help to get you started and support you on the journey. So coming back at the core of Femtech, I would like now to invite Anna Butterworth, who is a well-recognized Femtech forecaster, to inspire us on how the future look like. So, Anna?
Thank you so
Your
much
turn.
for a lovely introduction. So let me just share my screen. So thank you so much for that, Jerome. I am Anna Butterworth. I run Ultraviolet Agency, which is the first and only marketing and trend forecasting agency focused specifically on Femtech. And what we do is we spend our time looking at the future. I can see my video sticking a little bit. Is it okay for everyone? Can you hear me? Yeah, great. So what we do is we spend our time really thinking about what the future of this category looks like. We do that with a couple of specific methodologies that we've developed that really help us take a snapshot of what is now and map what that can look like in the future and what it should look like in the future as well. I come at this with a bit of bias. I want the best possible future for women. So I'm really excited to share with you some of the evolving elements that are happening in the landscape at the moment. And some of the really key investment opportunities. So because we've got a bit of a mixture of people on the call today, what I thought I'd do is just do a snapshot of the landscape as it stands today. So if you don't use the term Femtech all that often, it's not just women's health, although that is a very large part of it. I often use the definition of Femtech that it's anything that differently or disproportionately affects women. So essentially that's everything, isn't it? Right? The way that we drive cars, the way we use our phones, the way that we, move around our homes, everything we do is slightly different. So pretty much anything can be Femtech, but really we look at technologies that really differently or disproportionately affect women. And a lot of that comes within the health space as well. So that is the really obvious stuff, bikini health, I call it, anything within gynecological health, fertility, and we've talked a lot about some of those types of innovations already today, but also things like cardiovascular health and autoimmune health. We respond to those sorts of health conditions very, very differently as women. We present very different symptoms when it comes to heart disease, when it comes to Alzheimer's, when it comes to osteoporosis. So all of those things are incredibly important in the Femtech space as well. But also for me, I like to look at things like fintech. The way that we earn, save, spend is very different. The way that money impacts our lives and our freedoms is very, very different, particularly if you're taking a global view and looking at the global south. So there's lots of elements in there as well that you can consider to be Femtech. The market as it stands is thriving, and it's driven by this increased awareness in technological advancements and the shift towards personalized healthcare. As I mentioned, health is a huge part of it. A report by FemHealth Insights in 2022 put the market at 1.186 trillion by 2027. McKinsey recently released a report this year that put health and wellness market at 1.8 trillion by 2030. So you can dissect it slightly differently, but however you look at it, however you slice it, the market is huge. And it's hardly surprising because women make up 50% of the population and have been up to this point generally not considered. I don't want to say ignored, but I'll be dainty with my words, not considered in a lot of the innovations and the move forward with health. This indicates a huge surge in investment. The investors we've had on the call already have been very, very clear, and it's wonderful to hear people that put Femtech as part of their investment portfolio. But we've also heard some of the more established companies that are innovating to meet the health needs of women, people like LV and Ava, which is which is where I started in Femtech actually, was with LV in 2015. Digital health apps and combination services offering physical product solutions are at the forefront of offering convenience, accessibility, and customization to the new female consumer. We actually put this in our 2023 report and we call it hybrid health. So this is offering both physical solutions, things like supplements or pills or wearables, alongside digital solutions like services, like apps as well. And this combination of solutions is absolutely thriving, and we're going to see a lot more of that going forward, particularly in the AI and Gen AI space. Things like COVID obviously really helped bringing healthcare at home, and people now just expect to have on-hand healthcare pretty much wherever they are. So that's a little snapshot of today, but as a trend forecaster, really what I'm interested is in the tomorrow. So where do we see the future of this category? It's incredibly bright. There is so much movement, there is so much innovation, and there is so much investment, which is incredibly important. One of the main themes that we're really seeing is this kind of inclusivity and accessibility. I talked a little bit about the Global South already, and it's incredibly important that we consider all women when we're building, right? So it can't just be designed for rich Western women, which at the moment a lot of technology is. And we're seeing this real move to make things super accessible and available globally to women across the world, whatever their background and whatever their financial capabilities are. Another major, really exciting move is the way that the world is aging, right? So Africa is going to see a huge surge in young people, and actually the majority of young people by 2030 are going to be living in Africa. At the moment, 90% of young people live outside the West already. And we're seeing in places like Asia that the population is aging quite a lot, right? So we're seeing these two very different challenges, which both mark quite exciting opportunities for innovation and investment as well. So we have this really rich opportunity coming down the line, as long as we understand what's happening and where it's going. And a couple of ways we can do that. So I've put some pointers here. Some areas that we're seeing a really, really big move in innovation are things like personalization and AI, which I touched on briefly already. So this is the move towards hyper-personalized healthcare powered by AI and machine learning. You can analyze vast amounts of data to provide tailored health insights, predictions, and treatments, revolutionizing how women manage their health. And this is particularly important because I'm not sure how many people use this term, but we're experiencing a huge gender data gap. So up to this point, we have not been researching with women involved in research studies. We have this huge clinical data gap between how men and how women respond to drugs and to health treatment. So we have a lot of work to do to try and bridge this gender data gap. And actually using AI and machine learning, we can use existing models and existing data sets to reanalyze the data and better understand how it impacts women. Of course, there's already going to be biases if it's pre-existing data, but this will really help us to start closing the gender data gap in a much easier and quicker way than doing brand new set of research. Another really exciting move is the integration of genomics into femtechs, which offers unprecedented opportunities in personalized healthcare. All of this still coming within personalization, because by understanding the genetic predispositions to certain conditions, femtech solutions can offer more targeted advice, prevention strategies, and treatments, which is obviously very exciting. And it means that we can get hyper-personalized, and we can really start to understand the moves that one particular person is going to have throughout their life, and we can start meeting her needs before she even knows she needs them to be met, right? And that's the goal. Mental health is obviously a huge and very, very important element that we're talking about a lot. As we understand the close relationship with our physical health, is receiving much more increased attention and investment in the femtech space. We're seeing digital therapeutics wellness apps focusing on addressing issues like anxiety, depression, and stress, which disproportionately affect women. Again, anything that differently or disproportionately affects women. We've got inclusivity and accessibility, which I touched on a little bit already, to really address the needs of diverse populations. So women in the global south, women of color, LGBTQ communities, and those in low income regions. And this is about reducing health disparities. So we've got the gender data gap. We also have a huge health gap between women in Western countries and women in the global south. And it's incredibly important that us as femtech leaders and founders and innovators keep that in mind and are working to address that disparity. And then finally, this isn't going to surprise anyone, but sustainability is still obviously top of mind as we start to understand the growing, the finite resources that we have on this world. And it's becoming desperately clear where we're going. sustainability is going to stay really, really top of mind and really at the forefront of innovation. So eco-friendly menstrual products, pregnancy tests, other femtech solutions, we have to really think about what the afterlife of our products are. So that's a brief overview of the future, and then a little bit on the business opportunities and investment opportunities. So of course, everything that we talked about, AI and ML applications, genomic health solutions, mental health platforms, inclusive health services, and sustainable femtech products. But this can all sit within particular areas of women's health, like offering decentralized health solutions. So if you have a look at some of our trend reports, we've talked about places like Athena DAO, which is helping to drive increased research in underserved areas of women's health, but it's also allowing women an opportunity to invest and earn money as well. Food and nutrition scarcity. This is an area that really terrifies me when I'm thinking about the future, but as we consider the finite resources of the planet, we're really starting to see that food, nutrition, and water scarcity is going to become quite an important element of how we think about how we manufacture and how we consume products. Longevity and aging, as I said, huge parts of the world are going to be skewing a lot older. So how do these people thrive, and how do we allow a really beautiful mid and end of life experience for the, you know, millions and millions of people across the world? And then, of course, powering fertility. A lot of data is pointing to the fact that we're getting increasingly infertile on a number of reasons, and that is both men and women. And I consider men's fertility still part of women's health. And still part of femtech. I see a lot of men's health solutions and men's fertility solutions in these accelerators, which is fantastic. So looking at how we can ensure we still are able, those that would like to are still able to have children, and those that would like to are able to prevent having children. So that's a really very quick whistle-stop tour into the future of femtech. Thank you so much. I mean, this is an incredibly exciting juncture. There's so much going on. There's so much potential for growth and innovation. Incredible moves in technology that we can help to leverage for women's health. But ultimately, the most important thing is to invest in women, right? And I think that's what we've been talking about a lot today. So thank you so much, everyone. You can reach me on ultraviolet.agency or just follow me, Anna Butterworth, on LinkedIn. I would love to connect with you all. I'll drop a link in the chat now. And I would love to speak to you more about this topic. I always talk about the future, and it's like my favorite thing to do. So please reach out. It'd be great to speak to you all soon.
Thank you, Anna. Thanks for sharing your wealth of knowledge and for inspiring the audience. I hope that by now people understand we're not talking about a niche market, and I'm using this terminology because unfortunately I still hear it often in that space, and that we're really talking about a broad set of conditions, and sometimes with fine lines between male conditions and female conditions. So great. And if you have any question, and feel free to use the chat. We can refer that later. But let's now move to the panel. And I'm very pleased to welcome 5 amazing leaders with me, and to help them, warm up and get introduced. I'll start with a quick series of short questions, and then we'll move into a conversation. So I'll start with Dominique. So Dominique Carrastos is a general partner at Envoy Street Ventures. She's also the founder of a growth hacking and marketing agency called LC Pleasure Group. So Dominique, welcome again. You've created the first dedicated fund to sexual health and women's health technology. So I'm quite curious hearing actually why you created that fund and what makes you believe this is the right industry to invest in.
Hi, Jerome. Thank you for having me today. And it's just wonderful to be surrounded by people who are really specialists in their field. So thank you. Thank you, Anna, for that great overview. So why did we do Amboy Street Ventures? I think it's important just to go back, well, almost more than a decade. But I've been in this industry, and what I call this industry and what we call this industry, sexual health and women's health technology. And we identified back then that the only way to increase and raise the credibility and authority for our industry are 3 things: education, innovation, and investment. But you have to remember, like to your point, Jerome, while we are not niche, we are new. So people and the world and the global's perception of anything that solves a problem between the belly button and the knees is traditionally taboo. It's even considered wicked behavior, maybe even married with porn. right? So now you've got there's also a systemic bias according to or towards women who are specialists in their fields or even women leaders. So for investors, our topics snuggle just a little too close to either high risk at the time or vice, right? So it's set up there with gambling, it's set up there with CBD at the time. And so today we know, because we've heard, that sexual health and women's health technology, driven largely by a lot of M&A and incredible founders and incredible innovation, plus a global threat to humanity, right? That always helps. It's femtech. It's also menopause and aging. It's LGBTQA plus health and agenda affirming care. It's access to contraception, abortion access. So we created a fund that invests in sexual health and women's health because we wanted to invest in the underserved. Essentially, we knew then, our data showed us this would be $1 trillion industry. If any other industry was showing these numbers, investors would have been flocking to our startups a lot faster. So you have to remember that women's health, to someone's point, and I think it might have been Ralph's, is smart money. But because the data, and we keep saying that women's health is an economic and it's a social motor, let's put a number to it. Economic data shows us that with a strategic investment of as little, and it's not a big number in the grand scheme of things, $300 million could unleash $13 billion if we strategically and wisely invest in women's health. Yes, to Anna's point, because we do roam half of the planet, but largely because we also take the lion's share of healthcare decisions. So I think it's fair to say that where we are today and where we started, you can't ignore us. No longer can we not be considered in investment and in growth. And I just want to finish off on a last note. In 2023, the pet tech industry raised more money than sexual health and women's health technology. So I have to ask, are we more committed to nutritional online dog food? And I have a dog, everyone, and I do love my dog. But are we more committed to online nutritional dog food than the overall well-being of the planet? So it's time to invest, no?
Yeah, good. But potentially, I would like now to turn to the two other investors that we have in the panel to get their insights here. So let me just quickly present them both. So we have first Yael Alamesh, who is principal at Nina Capital. Yael started his career in a large investment firm in Israel, working on alternative assets, and since then built strong expertise in women health, actually managing all deals from Nina Capital. And we have as well Daniel Koppelman, who is a managing partner at Convergence Partners, a fund that is quite very much interested in fertility space this year and actually invested in one of the Tech4Eva startup. So Yael and Daniel, what are your thoughts based on what we were just hearing from Dominic?
Yeah, do you want to start?
I can start. I can jump ahead. I think there is a clear disagreement that this is an area of need. And for us, I think an important point about Nina Capital is I don't invest in femtech. I invest in women's health. And for me, the areas of need of women's health are things that unproportionately affect women. Stuff that Anna already mentioned, such as Alzheimer, cardiovascular health, oncology, earlier diagnostics that are mainly driven out of lack of data. And then also, obviously, everything that goes into reproductive health. That is let's say, the official women's health, definition of what is women's health. And then actually fertility, I do not consider as women's health. I think it's a general health issue and it's not women's health. But that's from my perspective. And I completely agree with Dominic that it's an area of need and it's an area of investment. But I think flagging the fact that it's not only because there are no female investors in this field, it's also because there is a lot of misalignment within healthcare spaces and healthcare regulators about how they invest in women's health, how they invest in the research projects that they do, and how they prioritize discoveries. So if you look at pharma companies and how they prioritize the discoveries and the research that they do internally. So it's not just a matter of lack of investment, because I think the wheel, I can certainly say that my wheel, as someone who invests in many verticals inside the healthcare sector, is there. The question is, how do you align all the incentives besides just the investors' incentives? And obviously, there is a lack of women funding it as well. But it's not the only issue out there. There are many issues that we need to solve, but it's just the tip of the iceberg.
Daniel, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so maybe I can. I mean, again, I agree with you. I think it is a wider structural problem. I think women are massively underrepresented, for example, in clinical trials. But let me focus a little bit on the investment side. I mean, it's quite puzzling. I mean, listening to the statistics in terms of the market size, wealth of investment opportunities. I mean, why hasn't there been more investment in this space? And I think one simple reason is if you look at VC firms, around 12% of decision makers and around 2.5% of partners at VC firms are women, right? So women are significantly underrepresented. And I think we all agree that men tend to be quite shy and uncomfortable even discussing topics like fertility, menopause, breast diagnostics. So I think this is the reason why not a lot of investment opportunities in this space make it to investment committee level and then actually active investments. But I have to say, this is changing. We're definitely seeing more and more interest, more momentum, really in investors looking at this space and really understanding that also the returns potential is enormous. So, I think in our case, so we are running a venture capital firm that focuses on healthcare sectors with large unmet needs. So, mental and brain health has been a key theme for us, women's health, and especially within women's health, we focused on fertility, also breast diagnostics. It was mentioned that we invested in B-Rays, which is one of the Tech4Eva companies. So really all sectors where there's a large unmet need and really innovation and change is required. And we're also quite active in the digital health space related to women's health. So working age women are 75% more likely to use digital healthcare tools than men. So it's really essential also to have tailored solutions in this space. And I think it is happening. So we're seeing more and more solutions like this. And I mean, really hope that we can also excite more traditional healthcare VCs to follow suit, co-invest in our opportunities. And also we're really happy to see more women-led funds emerging and also more female founders starting businesses. And again, I mean, my view is, again, try to, as a female founder, also try to have a balance in your team, male and female, because in our experience, this has been most effective.
Thanks, Daniel. And I'm quite curious hearing as well from Pascal and Cindy, and potentially just first to introduce them both. So Pascal is a serial femtech entrepreneur. He's co-founded multiple startups, currently CEO of Milka. That's a digital health startup that is improving pregnancy care in low-income countries, starting with Kenya. And Cindy is a very active Tech4Eva mentor and corporate leader. She's managing disruptive innovation and sustainability that we've heard from Anna is an important topic at Procter & Gamble. Pascal, you've created Ava Woman that you finally exited in 2022, more than a decade ago. So what have you observed in terms of the changes in this industry and what has kind of the help needed, how that has evolved?
Yeah, I mean, I really, really like Dominic's emotional statement that we're still nowhere and we really, really have a long way to go. And I fully share that. But at the same time, over the last decade, we must realize that a lot of stuff has happened. And we're still kind of discussing with Ida and Clue, who brought in, Ida and Hans from Clue, who brought in the femtech term, whether this is a good way to actually market that. And we had lots of weird meetings with some guys who really had just no interest whatsoever in hormonal cycles and stuff 10 years ago. And I think that has really, really changed. I would even argue that femtech is probably almost easier now if I compare with my friends who work in cardiology or who do stuff in dental or whatever. I think we've really gone a long, long way over the last decade. But still, I mean, there is so much more work to be done, and I think all these communities and doing stuff together is really, really important.
Thanks, Pascal. And Cindy, you have been supporting a lot of our startups here at Tech4Eva. So what kind of are the biggest help areas that you see, entrepreneurs are suffering, where they can actually look, for investors as in-kind, support?
Sure. Like, first of all, thank you very much for the invitation. It has been a super interesting 2 years supporting the ecosystem. And well, like the first question that all the entrepreneurs ask me is how we actually create disruptive innovation. That is what Ralph and Adrian were mentioning at the beginning, how we create this business opportunity, this business case that my technology actually can solve a real problem in the world and create meaningful business. And here, like what I start all the time with is startups come with a lot of passion, a lot of technical knowledge, but sometimes very little consumer understanding. And this is a very important part of what we do during the program. That is, we try to understand really what are the needs out there of women. How do they feel every day? What is the day? How does the day look like? Because in big part, the success of a new technology doesn't start with a scientific breakthrough, but starts with understanding what is the real need that this woman has, what is the consumer experience that today this woman, or the problem that today this woman cannot solve with any tools around, and how this technology can actually help her solve that issue. And something that for me has been, like, as a woman and working in the corporate world, has been incredibly impressive is that we know very little about the women journey throughout her life. We know pretty much how to have kids. Mostly, we are very focused on the fertility journey, but we have very little understanding on how the women body actually create different challenges for us along our full life. And this is where the big opportunity lies. Understand women first. First, we start with the consumer, and fall in love with the problem that the consumer has. And then we start checking a lot of different potential solutions on the technical side. So this is one of the first things. So first and foremost is remember that great innovation starts with consumer problems, and then we can start reviewing different technical solutions, because if women are able to adopt these technologies, we will be able to do two things. First, we are actually solving a real problem for them. And second, we are creating a profitable business that enable us to reinvest and keep growing and keep developing the sector.
Thanks, Andy. And I think you mentioned a very important thing, which is, this like complexity and understanding. It very, depends on the markets. In healthcare, there's so much different stakeholders, insurer, payers. So I think it's very complex. So I mean, I would like to throw the ball to Yael and Dominic, actually, Dominic having, great expertise in how you actually develop your brand and launch your commercialization. And this usually starts, at a more like later stage, more on when do you have proven that. So what do you observe in that industry when it comes to consumer understanding?
So I can say from our side that we invest in pre-seed seed stages, so pretty early on. And I think to your point about looking at needs, it's not only women's needs. So when we look at opportunity, we look at everyone's needs, right? Because to actually improve the care of women, you need to solve someone else's need for it to roll down to the women and improve the overall care and care outcomes. So you need to solve a payer's need, you need to solve a physician's need, you need to solve even the employer's needs. So for example, with we have a recent investment into the menopause space. And for employers, menopause is a big pain point. So you're solving something for them, and then from there, helping women. So it's not only about understanding the needs of women, it's also understanding the needs of the overall system, which sometimes, especially in fertility, doesn't align really well, I think. So understanding all general incentives and stakeholders map within women's health is something that is extremely challenging, and I find it even more challenging compared to other stakeholders in the healthcare system, because with other areas of need in the healthcare system, you often have more alignment. With women's health, the alignment is not as strong, sadly, and this is something that needs to be taken care of. This is why, for example, in menopause, regulators are pushing it, so the incentives are now more aligned. But overall, you need to take care that you have this alignment of interest. And I think something that is super key with us when we invest for every entrepreneur, not only women's health, but extremely important with women's health as well, is to see that there is a clear understanding of the stakeholders that you address, and that there is a clear understanding of the clinical value that you will achieve from addressing the specific stakeholder. So those two pieces in the earliest stages of startups that we look at are the main components that I would want to see, assuming that at the pre-seed stage you don't see any commercialization yet. So.
Okay, thanks, Yael. And I see that the time is running, so I think we can continue for ages that conversation. But let's take two final minutes, essentially, if you want to add anything, Dominique and Pascal on that conversation here.
I can speak from experience, having launched more than 100 brands across 4 continents. Cindy, we couldn't agree with you more, 1000%. The only way success is delivered through change, as in social change, as in the consumer behavior or how the patient or the end user uses the product, is if the innovation starts with the life stage. And so taking into consideration what that biological condition or problem is, as well as the psychosocial, because that does apply to all sexual health and women's health, and then applying education, narrative, lexicon, all of that support first needs to happen in order for the innovation to actually be adopted. And then, like to Yahel's point, all other stakeholders and their problems can also be solved. But the first port of call is honest innovation. So you have to start with the life stage, and then you have to communicate, and your innovation has to be honest. So we're very much aligned and can say that that alignment has proven very well for the startups that we've launched over the last 6 years.
Thank you, Dominique. And Pascal, I would like to give you the closing words as a successful Swiss femtech entrepreneur. So what do you want
to add? Well, it should not be a guy actually having the final words here, but maybe just, I mean, I fully agree on the consumer side that I think this thorough understanding and is crucial, and also what Yael said, kind of this systematic. Maybe talking about systems more kind of also using the opportunities that we have many investors here. I think one of the key reasons that Silicon Valley has been so successful is really this financial ecosystem, where from basically the pre-seed round to seed to Series A up to IPO, basically you have this ecosystem. They know exactly what the next ones want to know. And I think in Femtech, we also have this opportunity to, because I think this community is stronger than in many other fields of medicine, that we use that and really, I think one of the crucial things, if a business angel can do an intro to the VC, and then the VC to whatever the growth investors, up to the Ps, up to the IPO guys who drive that, I think that would really bring the ecosystem a big step forward. So let's really also there kind of really work closely together, because I think one of the key drivers for Femtech to really take off, all the impact and stuff is nice, and we like to hear that in the Femtech. But at the end of the day, the big investors, they're just going to do it if we see more exits. There are not many unicorns in Femtech yet, and even the exits often are maybe a few $100 million, but not really the unicorns. So we really need to build successful businesses. And I think that's only, we can only do that together, kind of. So really cool, this movement that is happening.
Thanks, Pascal, and thanks for all panelists. So I invite, the audience to, reach out to these fantastic folks in case you have more questions. And I think Pascal, you've raised, a very critical call for action. I think, every type of stakeholder brings his piece to the puzzle, and we need to reinforce and glue all that ecosystem together. And that's why, it's great to actually, have VCs talking with angels, talking with, entrepreneurs, and talking with corporate leaders, because, and healthcare professionals, of course, to step change the game. So thank you a lot again. We'll now move to the showcases, as we have 30 minutes left to showcase 6, great innovations, and we'll start with Aspivix and their CEO, Mathieu Rasser. Mathieu, you can start sharing your screen while I quickly introduce you. So Aspivix is a Swiss growth stage medtech that is disrupting gynecological care.
Good afternoon, everyone. Then I'm Mathieu. I'm CEO and co-founder of Aspivix, and I'd like to thank you, first of all, for having us here today in this International Day. It's a day that reminds you, of course, of the gender gap that we all have to overcome. At Aspivix, that's something we remind ourselves every day. And we innovate women's care by introducing gentler and safer gynecology procedures through our non-traumatic cervical stabilizer. In short, I wrote that here, we own the only non-traumatic access to the uterus. So you may ask, why is that important? And I will try to change slide. Yep. Actually, every year you have 121 million of unintended pregnancies. That's a staggering number. And of course, those pregnancies will, for most of them, 60% will result in abortion with severe health and social consequences. You can think of course, of maternity death and schooling issues that can result out of that. And the key is having better contraception. And in our case, higher IUD usage could be a solution, the IUD being the most cost-effective contraceptive solution. And however, and that's written here again, 18% of women, they are concerned by the pain, and they have a fear of pain, which constitute basically a barrier to the IUD adoption. And why is that so? Here is the problem. Imagine you're needing a transcervical procedure. So transcervical procedure would be an IUD placement, could be a hysteroscopy, could be embryo transfer, you name it. But your gynecologist in this case will use this instrument, the cervical tenaculum, which is featuring sharp hooks to grasp and hold your cervix or the tissue of your cervix. You can see it's rough. It affects 120 million women every year in the world, causing unnecessary pain, bleeding, and also risk of cross-infection. So here it's a problem, of course, and here's how we solve it. We introduced Carevics. It's our non-invasive suction-based instrument. It's designed to replace a cervical tenaculum. As you can see, Carevics is FDA cleared. It's CE marked, so ready for US and European market. And how it works, when it's attached to the cervix with the suction effect, Carevics enables maneuvering the cervix the exact same way as the cervical tenaculum did, but without pain, no bleeding in our case. And as Carevics is a fully disposable device, that means also there is no risk of cross-contamination. With our device, we have been able to demonstrate in a randomized control trial that we reduce pain by 73%. We reduce bleeding by 78%. And the results have been recently published actually in the American Journal of Contraception. We are now in a pre-launch phase. We have placed our product with 12 hospitals and clinics in the world, Europe and US mainly. We continue receiving very, very strong data and evidence of the success of Carevics, which is extremely encouraging. We have also decided in January to launch our product in Switzerland, and we made it with a partnership with Bayer, the largest IUD manufacturer in the world. And of course, now, next step is for us to continue expanding in Europe and in the US. For that, we are fundraising. We're fundraising 7 million. It's a 7 million round. You're, of course, all welcome to join. And with this and this very short teaser, I'd like to thank you and, of course, remind you that if you're interested in joining our journey and changing the woman's life, please come and talk to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mathieu. And I see, a comment in the chat. Unfortunately, not yet in the UK, as I understand, but coming soon, And yeah, feel free to shout your questions. The team, and I think you have one of your co-founder with you today in the audience. But we have a surprise for you because we have Caroline Gessa in the audience today. So Caroline is a BAS member who believed in your product, believed in your mission from day one. So I'd like to invite Caroline to a brief, touch point or share experience in supporting Asphyxis in the early stage.
Yes, I will be very brief because for me it was very clear. I was coming out of a gynecological control and it had hurt. And then we saw the presentation from Asphyxis. So for me, it was a clear cut. I think my gynecologist, she, in hindsight, she's also convinced in the because she has tried Asphyxis, and last time I saw her, she praised it. Why did I invest? Also because of the fantastic combination in the team between the gynecologist, the engineer, and the business guy. So that was a magic triumvirate. Well, that at the time only men, but very, very promising. And in the meantime, I think the board is mainly composed of women, and there are a couple of women on the team as well. I want just to say one last thing besides the fact that I am a very happy investor. One of the reasons I'm a very happy investor is that monthly we receive a little information. And this is a message to the startups around here. If you're a small investor, so maybe not the lead investor who is in touch every month, but one of the small investors, to receive a monthly update is very, very valuable, because then you remember the startup that you have invested in with warm feelings, and you try to help if you can. So thank you, the team of Mathieu, Julia, and co. And I hope you a great future, and also good luck for the next round.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Caroline, for sharing. And I've seen, a couple of angels agreeing with what you said about, keeping a constant communication. So kudos to Asphyxis. So let's move now to Yoni Solution with Virginia Franco, their CEO. So Yoni Solution is a Swiss early stage startup that is providing vaginal microbiome analysis with personalized probiotic solutions to optimize in vitro fertility. So Virginia?
Hello, Jérôme. Thank you very much. I believe everyone can hear me well. So I trust you guys can hear me well. I continue. Thank you, Jérôme. Thank you for the opportunity of presenting Yoni Solutions. Thank you. Happy Women's Day to everyone. And thanks for your time and for engaging your time in women's health. We definitely need you guys' support on this. So I will start my presentation. Sharing my screen. I believe does anyone can see my screen here? Okay.
We can see it.
So my name is Virginia Franco. I am a gynecologist by training. I am the CEO of the company Yoni Solutions in Switzerland. And we address a very common and important problem in women's health, and very recurrent as well. And I always like to show the size of this problem, because unfortunately a lot of people doesn't know the numbers behind the vaginal infections. So in fact, I speak as a gynecologist, but also as a woman. We know for a fact that the vaginal microbiome is related to different health problems. And one of the major problems that we have today are the vaginal infections. I'm talking about candidiasis. I'm talking about bacterial vaginosis. And 75% of women at some point of their life will have at least one episode of those infections, which is a huge number. And the problem is also that those infections are quite recurrent. I'm talking about 5 6 episodes per year. And we know for a fact that the vaginal microbiome influences in treating those problems and the recurrence of those problems. But also the vaginal microbiome is very much related to the success rates of fertility treatments. I'm talking about IVF and recurrent implantation failure. So that's why I love to share those numbers right in the beginning, because I know those topics are quite taboo, and we don't speak about vaginal health everywhere. People they are ashamed of it. And I think the professional, the healthcare professional, one of our missions is to share the size of those problems. The impact, when we talk about the money, is 10 billion with vaginal infection treatment worldwide. I'm talking about the cost for the patient, for public care, public services, clinics, and etc. 3 billion women will face a vaginal infection at least one time in their lifetime. So again, focusing on their numbers because they are huge, and I insist on it. Our product in Yoni Solutions, we have our own test, vaginal microbiome own test, showing the profile of bacteria and fungus, and especially lactobacillus, which are quite prevalent in the vaginal ecosystem, let's call it this way. The composition, there is a report, a medical report with the description of the composition of the vaginal microbiome of each lady, and what should be the food supplement better addressed for this lady, for this woman. I like to say that one of our points of differentiation is that we developed the test, this vaginal microbiome test, and the protocol. I think this is a point of differentiation between Yoni Solutions and the competitors, and the uniqueness of this value proposition in the company. And especially because of the fact that we have a test that is quantitative. And for me, this is crucial in decision-making for the food supplement recommendation, for the personalized probiotic recommendation. In terms of market size and macro trends, again, we have in Europe 380 million women, and 250 million will have vaginal infection. 15%, the good news is that 15% of those ladies are more looking for more natural solutions that can solve their problem in the long run. And people in general are more are more driving into natural solutions, into microbiome health, interested in microbiome space as a hot topic. And there is a shift towards personalized healthcare worldwide. And we are also in the sector of preventive healthcare, wellness, and evidence-based approach to probiotics. So this is quite positive for the company in the longer run. I like to use those real user testimonials. Of course, they allow me to share their photos, their testimonials, their names, but those are real clients that already use the test and the probiotics. In the beginning, some clients that used only the test in our clinical study. Those are real testimonials of clients. Some of those clients, I cannot share the names, but I'm super proud of this first launch of the product, even if we are early stage startup, but we already have early adopters that are quite happy and giving those super nice feedback. So that's why I always share it here. Today's key revenue streams relies on the microbiome analysis services. We are microbiome analysis services, the probiotic products, and is also a revenue stream. Research partnerships that we are making with research hospitals and companies. The corporate wellness programs inside of big companies that promote wellness products among their team, among their employees. We already have partnerships with those corporate as well. This is super positive and good for us. And another good news is the fact that 100% of our clients so far willing to buy the probiotic after the test, because we have different possibilities of acquiring test plus probiotics or only the test. But among the clients that acquired only the test, 100% of those were willing to acquire the probiotic in order to continue with the company, and part of them became recurrent clients. The investment opportunity we have today is 600K to reach 1 million ARR in 24 months. And the milestones within in the next 18 months are super to really invest in marketing. and increasing the sales, the number of sales per week, increasing our probiotic pipeline, and the regulatory path with the IVDR compliance as well. We want to connect to you if you are interested in knowing more details about the investment opportunity. Join us. Also, we will be next week in Business Angel Switzerland dinner, and thank you very much for that. Do not hesitate to reach out to me, to us, if you are interested in knowing more details. Super thank you to my brilliant team for the support so far. And in the name of everyone, all the women out there, thank you very much.
And kudos to you, Virginia, as we heard from Dominic and Sydney, very important to get that consumer interaction and consumer feedback. So testimonials are key and a great proof that you're working in the right track. So let's move now to the next startup, Samphire Neurosciences. We have Emilia Radite today with us. So Samphire Neurosciences has developed a non-invasive wearable device to support or actually to address the premenstrual low mood, anxiety, and PMS. And by the way, I think potentially you'll mention, but I want to emphasize, successfully closed recently a seed round of 2.1 million.
Hi, everyone. Really good to be here. And thanks, Jerome, for the introduction. I had the pleasure of working with Jerome as my advisor throughout Tech4Eva, so really helpful. Can I just ask someone to confirm that you can only see my slides, that everything is well? Yeah, perfect. Brilliant. So today I'm here to talk to you about Samphire Neuroscience, where we hope to shift the norm for women's health through neurotechnology-driven approaches. Many of you may be familiar or not that globally too many women are living with debilitating menstrual health symptoms. That's more than 1.5 billion globally, and 800 million of them live with premenstrual syndrome, so symptoms of low mood, anxiety, irritability, and so on. And to us, menstrual health is also about mental health, even though that's not normally discussed. In fact, 4 out of the 5 symptoms with which women struggle the most are mental rather than physical health symptoms. Obviously, pain is the first one that comes to mind, but things like anxiety, difficulty making decisions, and irritability really affect women in the workplace and in their personal lives. And at the moment, there are no good treatments that are medical grade available for them to be able to manage those mental and physical health symptoms. We also know that in terms of the impact of these symptoms, almost every woman, 4 out of 5 women, will lose productivity because of those symptoms every single month. In fact, these numbers come from a study of over 36,000 women in the Netherlands that showed that 82.4% of women lose productivity due to those symptoms. And if any of that is new information to you, it's because still over 3/4 of women will not talk about them publicly, sometimes not even with their partners, but definitely not in the workplace either. And that's why it's a huge and massive and underestimated problem that hasn't been addressed seriously until now. I also want to pay attention to the fact that it costs us a lot of money as societies and as governments, as an employers. You can see some numbers on the screen, but essentially it costs us over 378 billion pounds here in lost productivity every single year alone because of all the time that women spend in the workplace and cannot make the best of the time there because there's no real medical grade treatments to address it properly. This is a little bit to talk about how we differentiate from these solutions on the market. And again, drawing attention to the fact that, yes, while there are a lot of solutions for menstrual pain, a lot of them are not available to most women in terms of like hormonal solutions, which not every woman can take and where there is a little bit of a shift. But across the board, there's pretty much no differentiated solutions that would be able to address mood and pain alone. And that was a huge motivating factor for us to create something that's able to hit both of those pain points to really let women thrive, as opposed to letting them live 50% of it better, which obviously still limits them very strongly. And the other thing is we are direct to consumer. And I'm going to speak about the product in a second, because we do believe that women have a lot of mixed experiences with gynecologists and are going to drive this recognition of these conditions with their clinicians as well. So we built Nettle as a way to address this problem. Nettle is a brain stimulation device, which you can see on the screen. It's a brain stimulating wearable that you wear on top of your head, and that is able to stimulate non-invasively 2 parts of your brain, the prefrontal cortex around here and the motor cortex around the vertex of your head, in order to address symptoms of low mood, anxiety, and irritability on the PMS side and the perception of pain for the menstrual pain side. It's very easy and compact to wear. It is controlled with a Samphire application, so it really looks very innocent from the outside. and you only need to wear it for 20 minutes every single day for the 5 days leading up to your period. So it's 5 days every single month in order to notice a very significant reduction in symptoms. And in fact, our clinical trial results are just about to come out publicly, but we have shown that after a single period of use, the average reduction in both of those symptoms is over 50%, and over 3 months, we near a reduction of 89% reduction in symptoms across the board, which means a lot of people will see full relief. But if you compare to any pharmaceutical, any painkiller, you will see that these are really outstanding results that came out from double-blind sham-controlled trials as well. This is our founding team. I'm a neuroscientist by background, originally from Lithuania, have spent my time working between the US and the UK, focusing on advanced neurotechnologies for mental health, and now obviously focusing very deeply on mental health. My co-founder has previously scaled and sold a financial technologies company and is really passionate about bringing transformative products into the area of women's health. And we're supported by a brilliant team of really experienced researchers, as well as kind of leading thinkers in the area of women's health and technology and how it could become the new standard in our care as well. And as Jérôme mentioned, we did recently close our pre-seed round, which is really exciting. We're supported by some people who have brought amazing medical devices to market. And TechCrunch did this very big piece that's like a 15-minute read that goes deeply into what we do. So I'd highly recommend anyone interested to take a look at there, in order to understand a little bit more about our work. And really, fundamentally for us, it's about a vision where women are able to take control of their health and are able to do so with cutting-edge technology that doesn't reach them as second adopters, but in fact as first adopters.
But thanks again, Emily. Great work. Keep running the way you are, and looking forward to see an update. So we'll now move to the next startup, Genomics, with Wolfgang Hackel. That's another Swiss startup that has developed a predictive therapy tool for breast cancer. Wolfgang?
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me? Yeah, my name is Wolfgang Hackel. I'm CEO at Genomics. I've been trained in oncologist and have also been treating patients for a lifetime. And it's my great pleasure to discuss with you how Genomics addresses metastatic breast cancer today. It's a fact. Metastatic breast cancer presents a daunting reality. Development success below 5% as far as new treatments are concerned. 46,000 new diagnoses a year, just US times 5 when you add Europe in. 20,000 treatment failures by month 6 and 25,000 by month 12. Our groundbreaking solution harnesses for patent-pending system technologies owned by Genomics. They include 6 innovative gene signatures for tumor diagnostics with molecular and biologic precision, AI-enabled data analytics for actionable insights from complex data, innovative transfer technology to share meta information, but without migrating data, and last but not least, reinforcement technology for federated learning and sharing of collective treatment experience. These technologies converge in our predictions platform, a fast, on-demand decision support service for cancer hospitals, oncologists there, and cancer therapeutics companies for highly effective, efficient treatments, powered with latest technology, which will be delivered by brand name suppliers, which we are working with, automated for real-time turnaround and learning. Our use of AI to generate clinical decision guidance is very different. It relies on cause-effect relationships, generating data, unmatched in robustness, clinical success enabling, cost savings, value adding, and facilitating quality decisions and outcomes. Part of these results have already been published, others will be published soon. But technology isn't sufficient. We are also redefining treatment decision-making using scientific rigor and evidence at scale. We look at novel targets from the patient perspective, relevant for patients' tumors, not cancer cells on a petri dish, relevant for patients' tumors, and metastasis control enabling for faster, cheaper, and more successful clinical development. And our therapeutic guidance targets clinical efficiency as defined by tumor eradication, regrowth control, lasting benefit, ending today's overtreatment for fear of undertreatment, which is a big problem and also a costly problem. Our achievements in 23 provided a robust basis for our goals in 24. Most importantly, the planned technical validation of the IT MVP once it has been migrated to the cloud in the June timeframe, and also the technical validation of our gene chip, which we are developing with a big name IVD company. Breast cancer, and specifically metastatic breast cancer, is far from being a resolved clinical issue and challenge. And this is why our team is striving to augment development and therapy outcomes beyond today's norm of achievements. Our commitment to innovation and excellence drives us to exceed standards. But obviously, we can't achieve this alone. So let's embark on this journey together for the well-being of half the world's population. If you'd like to hear more and discuss in more detail, I feel encouraged to reach out to me. Here are my contact details. Thank you.
Thank you, Wolfgang. So two last startups, and let's first stay on the topic of the breast cancer. And I'm inviting no, sorry, I'm just having a brain fog now. Sorry, Biraise. Christina Rossi from Biraise. So that's a Swiss startup that has developed an AI technology to accelerate and facilitate the detection of breast cancer. So Christina.
Thank you very much. I hope you can see my screen also in the full modus.
Yes.
It's okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the invitation and for the opportunity of being here in this special day. Thank you also to Wolfgang for the introduction on the topic. I have to say, just to make a note on the side, that maybe among all the solutions that are dedicated to female health, the solutions around the breast cancer do not encounter this embarrassment from the investors. Maybe this is due to the fact that we are focusing on a body part which is above the belly button, just to close to the discussion that was made before. Still, there is an unacceptable number of women that die every year because of breast cancer, and Biraise is working to save women's lives with an early detection of breast cancer. Breast cancer is the cancer type which has the highest incidence and the highest mortality among the global female population. Every 2 minutes, a woman is diagnosed with breast cancer. And still, this year, 1 out of 6 women undergoing a treatment for breast cancer will not survive. Working at the University Hospital of Zurich in the radiology department, me, together with the 2 co-founders of the company, recognized that new developments in AI technology would allow to build a digital space that support the journey of the breast cancer patient along the diagnosis and the treatment of breast cancer. Our revolutionary AI technology is unique on the market with the approach of supporting healthcare professionals in the diagnosis of breast cancer, recognizing early signs of malignant degeneration in the tissue. But it also supports the patient management, so it's able to recommend in real time the frequency of follow-up for the single patient, the need of potential supplemental diagnostic, or eventually of a biopsy. And it is able to support the hospital by a full automation of the compliance tasks, which are requested by certification institute or screening programs. Nowadays, our solution looks like that. This is a suite of 5 CE-certified products fully dedicated to mammography, certified under the medical device regulation as a Class 2A device. Just yesterday, we have received from the FDA the confirmation that one of the first modules have been successfully registered for the FDA and is now ready to get into the US market. I'm super proud today to have the possibility of introducing our revolutionary Danae technology. The Danae technology is the first adaptive AI technology which has been globally certified as a medical device in our industry. The strength of the Danai technology is the one of closing the gap to the full adaptation of AI solution into the clinical needs. What Danai is able to do is to recognize what are the specific needs at the site of the client, learn out of the feedback of the client, and then fully adapt to what is needed according to the population of patients, the setting, if it is a screening setting or a diagnostic setting dealing with high-risk patients. This technology opens a new possibility into the area of generative AI because it's able to create a digital clone of breast diagnostic experts. V-Raise is already present on the market in Europe. We have commercial activities in 5 European countries. We are opening 2 new European countries. We reached this strong traction by working on the segmentation of clients, but also on a lean internationalization strategy. Our customers are breast centers, screening programs, or larger radiological networks. We reach them deploying the solution on-premise or on cloud. The solution is bought as a license, so we have annual recurrent revenues on which we can rely. Nowadays, we are present in Europe. We are getting prepared to the US market with the certification that we have just received. We sell our product using different distribution channels. So we have our own sales representative for the sales, for the direct sales, but we also have built a network of agents and distributors, which are extremely important, especially in the fragmented European market. But we also use industry partners like AI platforms or PACS vendors. Now we have completed our portfolio for mammography, but of course we want to walk along the journey of the patient. So the next step will be the one of covering the next important modality in breast cancer diagnostic in radiology, which is the breast ultrasound. The development of the breast ultrasound is completed, and we have now started the activities for the CE marking. After ultrasound, the next big modality will be the breast MRI. We have a fantastic team, blessed really from an inclusive and team made by people which have different background and different experience, which are in different time life. And this resulted to be a big advantage for the company. Here is a little overview on the metrics of the company, of one of our main achievements. We are really strong in the Swiss market, also the Norwegian, so the Nordic market is actually extremely attractive for us, and we have closed key industrial partnership to allow faster distribution of the product over a global scale. Thank you very much for your attention. We are fundraising now, so if you want to join the future of breast imaging, please take contact with me. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. And let me now invite the last startup, LC Longer with Joanna Ledunger, to present. So another Swiss startup, and the last one to present today, who has developed the first metabolic biomarker-based diagnosing tool for mental health. So Joanna.
Thank you very much. I hope that everyone can hear me well. Can someone just nod? Very good. Thank you for that. Thank you for inviting us here today on this important day. Mental health is an important topic for women, of course, but also for every gender. Healthy Longer is the first to discover metabolic biomarkers to diagnose and manage mental conditions. Sadly enough, the figures regarding mental conditions in our society, and these figures are very coherent in the US and in Europe, are quite high. Whenever we speak about depression, anxiety, burnout, to just name a few of them. And the troubling fact in mental conditions is that there is no biomarkers. There is only subjective symptom data. So unfortunately, it results in a very high rate of misdiagnosis. And according to the studies, 9 in 10 patients are not diagnosed correctly or misdiagnosed. And with this fact on the diagnosis side, it's maybe not surprising that so many therapies are ineffective. And another factor that plays an important role in today's management of mental conditions is that impact of nutrition is overlooked. Healthy Longer has handed in 3 patents, and the first of our discoveries is that metabolic biomarkers are strongly correlated with mental conditions, and we analyze that in a very user-friendly serum in a dry urine. The second discovery is the impact of metabolic impairments on mental conditions. And the third discovery is the importance and possibilities of using personalized nutrients in addressing those metabolic impairments and therefore addressing mental conditions. In our solution, patients in a questionnaire at home. So there is an anamnesis that doctors do not need to do. It can be digitally performed at home. The patients take also 4 dry urine samples. And by using that, we have suddenly 2 samples of data. We have subjective symptoms, but we also have objective biomarkers. And that enables us to support diagnosis, to determine metabolic impairments, and to develop treatments based on personalized nutrients. And what does it mean for mental health care professionals? Well, for the first time, they have a diagnostic and therapy design tool based on the objective data. For patients, it means that they have possibility for self-assessment and self-management. Our value proposition enables reduction of misdiagnosis, and doctors can free up substantial capacity. These are results of the market validation that we have done in the Nordics. And patients can have much higher improvement rate, and also the therapy times are shorter. Our business model is B2B2C, where our minimum viable product can be used as diagnosis and therapy design by clinics, hospitals, and mental care professionals. And there is potential for patient self-assessment and for nutraceuticals. The market is huge. I think we all agree on that. We define the obtainable market to 1 million patients on the horizon of 5 years. We have filed the patents, we have created minimum valuable product, we have confirmed the correlations in a human pilot. This year and next year, we will be focusing on commercial pilots, on clinical studies, and confirming and further validating product market fit and design. We have a very interesting cooperation with mental care specialists. We have just received a budget for a common clinical study from Harvard Psychiatry, from clinical research, and Massachusetts General Hospital. We have also signed an agreement in research and development with Nestle to early on look at the nutraceutical side. I should mention also we have been one of the 7 startups chosen of 133 for Future of Health grant and program with our first insurer, CSS. So we are very happy about that, of course. We are 3 partners bringing medical, nutritional psychology, finance, and artificial intelligence and machine learning competence. We have many scientific advisors due to the fact that our field is very multidisciplinary. So we have molecular biochemists, we have clinical nutrition representatives from many different fields, and you can see other partners, our business partners here as well. As we focus on pilots and clinical studies, we are looking for more partners for commercial pilots. And we seek a pre-seed funding of 750,000 Swiss francs. We have won several awards, I'm very happy to say, with our solution. We are one of 9 food tech, although we define ourselves more maybe as biotech startups to watch according to investor platforms. And our mission is that everyone with mental conditions should be evaluated early on metabolic disorders, which affect mental disorders. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jana, and thanks again to all the entrepreneurs and for the audience for staying a bit longer time. And before handing over to Simone for some closing words and call to action, I would like to thanks the historical partner, especially as a CGL on the call, Group Mutual, for supporting us the last couple of years and bringing Tech4Eva together. And I'm sure Simone will share more. So thanks again. That was a pleasure for me. And Simone, floor is yours now to share a few final words.
Yes, thank you, Jerome, for moderating today. And thank you to all the speakers, of course. I also wanted to thank our other network partners, which you can see on this slide. So if you are interested in becoming a partner with us, just send me a quick email and we can have a conversation. So all these partners are part of our community and help us amplify the message of improving women's health across the globe. I'm also happy to acknowledge today SIGPA is supporting us today on International Women's Day, and stay tuned for more news on our collaboration. So today you heard 6 startups pitch. So it was a showcase of a few of our startups. We have 77 startups in our network. Next slide. So to conclude today's event, I would like to talk about 2 important actions from your side. If you're an investor, please fill in the form, and we're happy to connect you with any of the founders to have introductory meetings with them and continue your conversation. And we're still looking for great innovators to apply to the 4th edition. So you have 1 more week to apply if you haven't done so yet. So you can here scan the QR code or simply go on our website, and we'd be happy to review your application. And finally, I'd like to thank all the participants for joining us today, for staying on later, and I'm wishing you all a very lovely weekend coming up.